Good evening, and welcome to the Psychic Golf Shop. I'm Aeson Knight. Today with me is my Techie with Moses, Techie Joe, who just came in from the road. It is in the summer. It is hot. I have my 300 volts of molten lava called mocha, and I have an iced coffee coming in because my office is hot. How are you, darling?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm rocking the Monster Rehab Peach.
Yeah, you need rehab.
It's been a day.
It has
Been a
been.
day.
Hello, Miss Brenda. How are you?
Oh, it
It
has. It has.
has. It has. I'm really trying to not, talk about a lot, but, is it ready? I did post a new dating tip on the TikTok, so you
You
can go check
did. You
out
did.
those. I think I want to start doing those. I mean, after dating for, like, I don't know,
You don't stop dating. Just stop pretending like you're trying to add it all up. It's continuous.
well, I know. I was trying to figure out how many years at this point.
I don't know how old are you.
Old enough to be old.
I mean, because you were a stripper in the nursery in the hospital, and I'm pretty sure you were looking for some dude's number.
Well, of course.
I'm just saying. Like, there's no point in aging it.
What? I've seen the
Or
doctor. He was cute as fuck.
There you go.
I mean, okay, fine. But no, like, I don't know, started dating in the 90s ish.
90s ish.
Yeah, it was kind of barely the 90s. At least I think it was the 90s. Could have been earlier. There's a lot of like going into clubs, a lot of illicit fun at clubs. So, what do you want to count as a date?
There was actual real food. It was planned and intended as a date, not as an unfortunate occurrence at 3 in the morning after the bar.
Well,
Be
we used to
careful
meet
with that.
at the bar, and yeah, that is kind of complicated because there was always plans.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
And there was an actual desire to see them again.
oh well, gee.
Well, as in a plan. It didn't have to work out that way. I'm just saying that it was not a one and done. Like, if it's just a one and done.
Well, let me see. Let me see. God, let's see. It's 2023.
Carry the one, and carry the one, and carry the one.
No, honey, I've done went to the calculator. Okay.
Oh, goody.
29 years. It's almost 30 years of dating.
Hmm.
There's some trades. There's some tricks. There's some plans.
I'm sure there's been plenty of tricks.
Well, of course there's tricks, and there's always cash. So but I don't know. Like TikTok has been filled with this dating advice, and I'm like, this is bullshit. Like it's
I
total bullshit.
Well, some of it is. Some of it is. Some of it's religious based. Some of it is like this weird thing we went through in the 90s, like the late 90s with the rules. Um, I don't know. We sell everyone this idea and then reinforce it in health class that the only way to appropriately be in a relationship is serially, and so not in parallel, and to always be looking for a relationship to lead to happily ever after.
Why?
That's like, okay, you know what? If I can have friends in my life for, a reason, a season, a lifetime, blah, 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 why can't I do that with partners?
Yes.
Why can't I do that? Why?
Yeah.
Why? Like, I mean, I'm not saying make a life out of going out and using people. That's not my point.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, some of this is messy and overlaps, and, there's multiple people. And
Well,
sometimes you just need to meet someone just to meet someone.
and sometimes you need to meet them, see them, go, no, not really.
I mean, I don't know. Some people, it tends to hit more like it's an episode of Hoarders, and you just want to look at them and go, "Are you in there? Like, what were you thinking when you brought home like the garbage?
Well, and
Like,
that's
what were you thinking?"
right. And that's why, my first advice for anyone dating is to sit down and make a list. You're designing a position in your life. What do you want? Do you want tall, short, dark, brown? You want someone that's talkative? You want someone that can be public? You want someone that can actually sit down and have a dinner and have some morals? Do you want someone that, knows how to make a bed or coffee? Like, I'm sorry, I don't date men that don't date that cannot make coffee. If the first cup of coffee you make me sucks, you're gone.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. And you do have that grounds for divorce thing, so there's
I
that.
do. Well, the minute coffee turns bad, it is grounds for divorce.
Yeah, it's you're not just judged on the first cup of coffee; it's every cup of coffee. Like I am like a stage 1 dementia slip from being kicked to the curb at any moment.
Exactly.
Like I make the coffee wrong.
Yeah. Bye. I dumped a guy because he said something wrong. Bye. I don't have time for you. I don't have a minimal investment in you. And that's what I see people doing a lot is they invest too soon. You have to go for it.
I think that's the ultimate outcome is they invest too soon. I think some people, though, it's like you showed up ready to buy.
Right.
Because, I mean, some of it is like, buying a car.
Right.
Like, and I know our generation sucks at that. We've been told this. We don't like to haggle. We don't like to argue or be confrontational or a lot of things.
Right.
But, like, I'm sorry, you can't just show up at the lot and go, ooh, this one. I want to buy this one. How much? I don't care. Like, I'm buying it. Because being overeager, it has its issues.
Right.
It leads you to get stuck with things that you had an opportunity to test drive.
Right.
And then, this thing now lives in your home.
Right.
You own it.
Right.
You bought it. It sits in your living room. You got it, or your driveway, or your wherever, and you just have it now.
Right.
And now you have to go through the actual process of getting rid of it, and then we go back to we don't like confrontation. So why wouldn't you want to start in the beginning when you don't know anyone, you don't know about them, you don't have that investment of caring.
Right.
Because, there's a certain amount of caring for someone will lead you to care for someone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, and there's this thing of what I call insanity. Okay. And it's insanity because if you look at any company, if you only get one application, there's a problem with the job position. Either the pay's too low, the benefits aren't there, or something.
Or the job's just that bad.
Right. Okay.
I mean, there are some, and we've talked about those before, like, pick fruit in, the middle of summer. Or, well, the end of summer and the hottest days of the year. Go pick fruit.
Right.
No. You cannot pay people. Literally, you cannot pay them enough.
Right.
To go do that.
Right.
I mean, it works out the same way. Like, look at your application. It doesn't mean you have to lower your standards.
Right.
It's just understand there are some barriers to entry.
Right.
That, that's not for everyone.
Right. And, but on the other side of that, You never see an employer talk to one employee, take them through the full vetting process before reviewing the next applicant.
Generally speaking, unless there was already an applicant in mind. Like,
Right.
I have seen that. Like, I've seen some nepotism get people jobs. Like, you were already...
Yeah.
You know, we had to legally advertise the job,
Mm-hmm.
but...
Right. But...
You know, hi.
But here's the other thing. Here's the more interesting thing. The very more interesting thing. Why would you only talk to one possible dating partner at a time? Oh, to get to know them. No.
See, again, that goes back to the investment. Is if you're, like, for me, and I say this totally from me, and maybe it works differently for others.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I find it easier to go ahead and just walk through the process.
Right.
And just, you know, if I'm talking to multiple people, I have other options. I'm not desperate.
Right.
Like, granted, I always have lived at.
Mm-hmm.
And I told you from the beginning, and it really kind of irked you in the beginning, and I think you get it now. I don't need you.
No.
I don't need you. I don't need you. I didn't know it for the longest time, but I've subscribed to the sheer logic of a man.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need a man. They're like dessert. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like, I will survive without a man.
Well, see, and I have the same opinion, but I have a little bit different opinion.
Well, you didn't like my phrasing is what it came down to.
I didn't like your phrasing.
Yeah.
My opinion has always been, I don't need a man. I have 14 dates available.
Mm-hmm.
If I need to, you can either fill up all 14 dates, or you can fill up one, or you can fill up 0.
Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm a once-a-year comet. Maybe I'm, someone you just need to know for a reason.
There's some that I just know because of an activity. Big woohoo.
Well, I mean, maybe it helped out that the first person I ever dated cheated on me with my best friend.
Yeah.
Like, and I know for a lot of people that end up in, like, that kind of view,
mm-hmm.
That they get really hateful and angry and distrustful and have a shit ton of problems out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of, like, started that route.
Mm-hmm.
And then I realized I was not angry, really, with the person I was dating. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. I wasn't even angry at my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
It was more so, I was like, wait, you could have just said.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I didn't need to walk up and catch that. Like, that was the part that bugged me. That was the part that bugged me.
Right. And that's what normally, once I get to the point of investment, what bugs me is when you don't meet the investment. You know,
Okay.
And that will destroy a relationship very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
For me. You know, but at the preliminary, like, first 3 months, no. First week, no. Bye.
Like,
sorry, there was a reason you were filed under Wednesday.
Yep. Yeah. I was Joe Wednesday in his contacts forever.
Yes, for the first year. Actually, until you made me update my phone.
Yes. I lived here. And my contact name was Joe Wednesday.
Yeah.
Just to let you know how committed. Like, I already moved in.
Uh-huh.
I'm still Joe Wednesday. I was still Joe Wednesday in his phone.
Yeah.
And I was cool with that. I find it funny.
And there was a Tuesday and a Monday and a Friday.
Go for it.
That's where you want to be.
Like, I don't have an issue with that. But I do have an issue with like getting overly invested in the beginning. Like, I'm not saying I wasn't young and dumb at some point in my life, and I was. I was there. I tried it. The upside, I thought, to gay men is if you start out there, I will tell you right now, ghosting is not a new thing in the rainbow umbrella community.
Yeah.
We created it. It really should be called rainbowing. Not ghosting.
Actually, it
It's
should be
rainbow.
called next.
Yeah, like, like, because the longest or the oldest joke in the world, it seems, is that what's a second date?
Well, depending on the community.
Yeah. Well, again, second dates for lesbians involve a U-Haul.
Again, depending on the community.
Generally speaking, though,
Well, second dates for bears normally involve a hike and a debate over drapes. Second dates for twinks normally has a new diet involved.
Okay.
Second dates is another. What was your name again?
Mm-hmm.
Especially for queens.
Yeah. Fair enough. It's all the shots you'll buy them. Like,
True.
Seriously.
Black Velvet.
Like,
Plate.
and I know these are stereotypes, and it doesn't apply to everybody.
Bullshit.
But it frequently enough. Like,
right.
do you know how many lesbians hate the topic of, so how'd you meet? Because it quickly evolves into, well, there was drama in a crisis situation. Almost always there was drama in a crisis situation, immediately followed by, we met during the drama crisis situation, and then somewhere within, like, I don't know, a week, they moved in.
Well, see, that's debatable. Because two of my lesbian friend couples, and yes, I have them. One of them met on an app, and when you think, oh, they met on an app, no, they met on fucking Scrabble.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
The other successful lesbian couple I know, when they start their conversation about how they met, they first have to remember which project they were working on. Because they met at a Lowe's. And there was a U-Haul involved, but that's because they had a PT Cruiser.
Fair enough. Like, I'm sorry, I'm going through and, like, high school. And then, let's see, website. Website and website, and then website. Well, app technically by that point.
Introduction.
Okay, but that's a way longer story.
Right. Okay, let's see here. I'm eliminating anything underneath 18 months.
If I eliminate that, it was an app in you.
Okay. Well, sorry, I'm known to have long-term relationships, so I have to eliminate some things.
I know, right?
Okay. Family introduction. Website. Bar. Hunted bar.
Hunted bar?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, he pursued the fuck out of me.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
So it was a stalking that turned into a relationship. It's like when stalking works out.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I've never told you about the one that, wanted to buy me cologne. Well, I told you about him, but not how we met.
No, like we hadn't talked about that. And I think you just discovered that, like, literally I've only met one person in person, like, and that was through friends. Everyone else has been digital.
Yeah.
Every single one.
But no, he pursued the hell out of me. He had to. Because I was in that mood of, fuck you, you want my attention, you got to work for it. App, and then introduction. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I count as relationships.
Mm-hmm.
And that means there actually was, like, a real legitimate attempt. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Like it moved beyond a first meet.
Right.
Like, I've been on a lot of first dates and quickly looked at someone and been like, I'm out.
I've been on a lot of first dates and went, delete.
I've turned around in parking lots. I've pulled up to the date location, seen my date, and turned around.
Well, see, and that's where we differ a little bit. Like, by the time you get me to a date, I've seen you in somewhat of in person or cam or pictures. I know what I'm looking for, and I've had a legit conversation with you.
Well, see, that was my problem and why I turned around. I saw my date.
Mm-hmm.
I saw the pictures I saw were like a good 10 years younger.
Uh-huh.
And I went, no. You knew how this was going to end up. You created this date in a public place in broad daylight.
Mm-hmm.
And you were the one that decided we were meeting outside before we go in.
Right.
Okay.
I see someone hasn't learned to check metadata yet.
What? Oh, yeah, back then. When the world was young and we assumed people were honest.
I've known since I was 5 people weren't honest.
Well, but, like, these are things you learn over time. Like, I have a firm belief no one's honest online. You're lying about something. But here's my thing. I accept that and have moved on from the idea. Like, okay, you're lying online, whatever. You're lying about something. I don't care what it is. It doesn't technically matter.
Mm-hmm.
Unless
mm-hmm.
you're going to lie about something I will easily discover
mm-hmm.
right off the top.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there is no way these two things match up.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm like, no. No.
Okay.
Again,
this was our follow-up after the break. I cannot resist this.
Oh, God. Oh, Lord. What has he found? Oh, okay, fair enough. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
But no, I literally did. I've turned around in a parking lot and been like, nope, that was my date. I'm gone. I'm done.
Right.
I've turned around in people's front doors. Like, on the non-dating side,
mm-hmm.
I've turned around and walked away at people's front doors.
Right.
Like, I am like, no. You said you, like, again, it's the level
right
that we're talking about. Like, if you tell me that you're 6'4" and you cannot possibly be over 5'7",
bye.
That's a pretty big lie.
Right.
Now, if you tell me you're 6 foot and you're really 5'11" and a quarter, I'll let you slide and be like, okay, that's reasonable. That's reasonable. You had optimistic rounding.
Mm-hmm.
You're over 5'11". Okay, I'll let it slide.
Mm-hmm.
But no, but I've been amazed the things people have lied about over the years.
I'm always amazed when the lies are stupid lies.
Yeah.
I can easily fucking defraud.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is the check your date rule. Men are stupid and lazy.
And here's my whole thing in that is, like, why do I want to invest a lot of effort talking to someone
Right.
that potentially, and I'm going to say there's an unfortunately high number
Right.
of guys that are going to be at that level of lying from the beginning. We are lying horribly from the beginning.
Right.
Why do I want to spend like hours and days and months of my life talking to someone for me to show up and have to contend with that? Because all I'm going to do is, there's a term for this. It's one of the biases. I think it's consistency. Anyway, it's the reason why salespeople try to get you to agree to something. Because once you start agreeing to something, you'll typically want to be seen as consistent in your actions.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a general human thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so you'll keep going.
Right.
And you'll just keep going. No matter how obvious it is, this isn't going to work. This isn't for me. This isn't what I want.
Mm-hmm.
You will keep running down the rabbit trail.
Right. But, here's the dating tip I was going to give, and then we'll go to break.
Got it.
You meet a person online. Get their email address. Real simple. Get their email address. Here's why. Men are lazy and stupid. They use the same username for everything.
Frequently, yes.
Run that sucker through Google. It will give you list of evidence.
Mm-hmm.
Also, do reverse image search.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see
but don't
everywhere they're at.
Please, if anything, though, don't use your work email or your work username for dating sites. Like, if that's what you're going to give out to people, don't do it. Don't do it.
All right.
Please don't do it.
All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we got a fun You're Stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here from Rowan Temple of Light, and I'm here to tell you about our events this summer. First up is Beltane in the Hills, May 13th, and that is from 1 to 6. We have entertainment, we have a bunch of vendors, we have a fairy photo shoot. It's going to be exciting. You having any questions, reach out to Earth Magic or to myself. After that, we have Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, August 19th. That's at Holly Gray Park from 11 to 5 for the day. And we will have Sarah Masters coming down from Pittsburgh to be our keynote speaker. We have some great classes for that. So if you want to get involved, reach out to Rowan Temple of Light at Gmail, or just follow us along on Facebook at Rowan Temple of Light, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community. See you there.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, If you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that Call Now button there on my site. It'll connect you to Keen, and if you've not been with Keen before, you'll get 3 free minutes to talk with me, so that's great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy. Bye, y'all.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvan.com. That's TracyVann.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
All right, welcome back. All right, so let's take a look at dumb criminals. And this may become a segment because I enjoy it.
Oh, yes. So cops, he tried to hide from us, ended up dying in a freezer. Police, Minnesota man with warrant out for his arrest became trapped while evading authorities. So last month, police in Gilbert, Minnesota found the body of a man inside a freezer in an uninhabited residence. The man apparently didn't freeze to death, however, and cops say they now know why he was in there in the first place. Per a release from the Gilbert Police Department cited by USA Today, the Midwest Medical Examiner's Office has ID'd the deceased as 34-year-old Brandon Lee Bushman of Babbitt, and investigators say Bushman had climbed into the freezer on his own accord to try to evade authorities as he had a warrant out for his arrest. The timeline on when Bushman actually went into the freezer is still unclear, but authorities say that interviews with those who knew him revealed that Bushman was last seen by those present in the home, fleeing from the upstairs area of the house due to a possible police presence near the residence. Police say that the freezer wasn't turned on as the utilities hadn't been on since April 2022. The house itself had been foreclosed upon this past February. Lieutenant Chelsea Trucano tells the Duluth News Tribune. As for how Bushman became trapped in the freezer, investigators say it was an older model with a latching mechanism on the outside. That means once it was shut behind him, Bushman wouldn't have been able to open it from the inside. It looks as though Bushman had tried to create a DIY delatching device. Investigators note that a metal lawn ornament rod was inserted from inside of the freezer towards the latching mechanism. However, the rod got jammed and apparently didn't work. Results from a final autopsy will be out in a few weeks, police say. A preliminary autopsy showed no signs of trauma or injury, and foul play isn't suspected. Don't hide in freezers.
Don't hide in freezers. You will lose the hide and go seek thing.
But basically, yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's a small space. There's not a lot of air.
Well, this is the older coffin-style model, we'll assume.
Mm-hmm. With the great big giant latch.
Yes.
Or some version of it.
Right.
You know, very similar. But more importantly, like, it's not just like nowadays getting in a freezer, which again, not recommended because it's a dumb idea. Where like stand up. You will break the seal on the lid. As long as you're not a small child, it'll be okay. Again, don't do it. Mm-hmm. But in terms of older models with the latching mechanism, those things are garbage to begin with. Mm-hmm. They're not accessible from the inside at all. This is not like getting locked in the trunk of a car. There's no little safety pole. Mm-hmm. Why? I don't know. I really think that if we were going to add that, we should have just done it with anything you could get trapped in, so you had a little pull handle.
Well, no snap off, but here's my thing. Mm-hmm. Why would you climb into something that is airtight?
Yeah, that's always a bad life choice.
Right.
Well, and more importantly, you really have to consider how long are you going to have to hide in this spot?
Yeah, 6 hours.
How long?
Should be 6 hours.
Yeah. I mean, if you're being chased by a knife-wielding serial killer, jump in the freezer.
No, take and beat him over the head with a stake.
Well, I mean, fair enough, but still, take the risk. You're probably not going to live anyway, so take the risk.
Yeah. Now, on the psychic side of me, I'm sitting here thinking, how boring has your life chart planning session been? If this is your plan of exit.
Well, maybe this guy's whole dream was to be famous. He is certainly famous at this moment.
Right, I get that, but at the same time, it's like, okay, you're sitting there with counsel, and your exit strategy is, I think I'll suffocate in the freezer.
I mean, there's worse ways to go.
Well, there is.
Like,
but,
these
are things that runs through a psychic's brain, like, who the hell sits there? Granted, I think we're tanked up on feel-goods at the time. Going, how do I want to exit this life? Let's see. Past 3 lives I've been hung, burned at the stake, passed away from starvation, passed away in a blizzard. Oh, I think I'll just suffocate in a space.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe explore all the ways.
Yeah.
Either that, or maybe someone's just having fun with the idea of dumb ways to die.
I think there's a special department on the other side called Insanity by Earth.
Like, let's see what else we can do.
Yeah. And that's when the souls have just gotten bored.
Like, it'll be fun. Let's try it.
Yeah.
It'll be fun. Again, don't try this.
Don't do this at home. Do not hide from the police in a freezer. If you're going to hide from the police, I highly suggest you hiding from them somewhere high. They don't like heights. Just saying.
Or turn yourself in. Accept responsibility for what you did at the point in which a warrant has been issued for your arrest, and just go peacefully.
Yes. And prearrange. You can prearrange a bail bondsman to be waiting for you at your arraignment.
I mean, not everyone necessarily has the resources to get bailed or bonded out. So I can understand that. Like, if you're going to totally F your life up by getting arrested, and there's no good, like, there's no version of this that's going to end well for you.
Right.
I understand it from a logic perspective of, like, see how long we can try not getting arrested.
Right. By leaving the country.
Yeah.
To a country that does not have extradition. This is not hard, people. People have been doing it for centuries. That's how we got a few states in this country, namely Pennsylvania.
And it also creates the question of what was the charge.
Right.
Like, if we're talking, like, unaliving someone, attempted unaliving someone, rape.
Mm-hmm.
All of those, I can understand, roll the dice, see what happens. Maybe you can avoid arrest. Again, right. Makes more logical sense because it's not going to end well.
Right.
Like, if you go to jail, you're not coming out for a while.
Right.
But if it's like, a misdemeanor.
Right.
If it's just like a failure to appear.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jesus.
Exactly.
Like, just do the thing. Just get it over with. Show up. Get it over with. It's going to suck.
Right.
Do it and move on.
Right.
Just do it and move on. Like, generally speaking, anything's better than ending your life sealed in a freezer.
Right.
And getting laughed at online.
Yeah. And it's not telling you in the original what this was.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure they're not wanting to point that out. So that tells me
right.
that, they weren't looking too hard for him.
Right.
So it could have been back child support, something that it's like, just do the thing.
Yeah.
Just do the thing.
Do the basic thing.
Just
All right. So I'm sure that many people are horrified by this news, but Manson family killer Leslie Van Houston freed on parole at 73.
Yes. So she has spent more than 5 decades in prison. So Leslie Van Houten, a follower of Charles Manson who was convicted in 2 killings, was released on parole Tuesday, according to officials. Houten, 73, spent more than 5 decades in prison. Her release comes after California Governor Gavin Newsom, who had previously blocked parole efforts on Friday, said that he would not challenge Houten's release in the state Supreme Court. An appeals court ruled in May that Van Houten was eligible for parole, reversing a decision by Newsom to reject parole. Houten was originally sentenced to death for the August 10th, 1969 murders of Leno and Rosemary LaBianca. The original conviction and death sentence were reversed on appeal, and she was sentenced to life with the possibility of parole, according to a statement from the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. In 1969, Manson and fellow cult member Charles Tex Watson went inside the couple's home and tied them up. Manson went outside and told Van Houten and another person to go inside and follow Watson's directions, according to court records. Watson told them to kill Rosemary LaBianca, and Watson killed Leno LaBianca. The previous day, Watson and other cult members, not Van Houten, killed actress Sharon Tate and others in her home. Van Houten is the second of 6 Manson cult followers convicted of murder and initially sentenced to death to be paroled.
I'm wondering if they ever freed Tex.
Pardon?
Tex.
I have no idea. Let me look through.
No, they have not.
Okay. So, yeah. But, yeah, but most of the death sentences were commuted to life in prison under a 1972 court decision that outlawed capital punishment. The death penalty was later reinstated in California. So, yeah. And so, yeah, there's a lot going on there. So, yeah, Watson is serving life in prison.
Right.
Manson died at a hospital in 2017 while serving a life sentence. Susan Atkins died in prison in 2009, and Patricia Krenwinkel is serving a life sentence.
Mm-hmm. So what's your thoughts on this?
At 77, I mean, I don't know. I never want to underestimate people. I really don't. But, well, excuse me, 73. I mean, is she really a threat to society at 73 when her original crime was fundamentally doing what someone else told her to do?
Well, and see, here's my question. Does she still believe in the cult? That's my problem.
That's probably the bigger concern. Moreover, after 50 years in prison, 5 decades in prison,
right?
Is there a point in letting her out? I go both ways on it. How?
Right.
How do you spend 50 years in prison and come out to 2023 and function?
Right.
I'm sorry, cell phones,
credit cards.
There's a lot of stuff that I mean, and maybe she won't, but there's a lot of stuff she missed entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Home VHS.
Mm-hmm.
DVDs, CDs, like there is and I'm not saying there's no chance she did experience some of these things in prison or learned about them, watched the news,
Mm-hmm.
but in terms of like active parts of her life,
Right.
like there's a void, a massive one.
Right.
And like how do you after 5 decades reintegrate and have any semblance of like I would just be like, just leave me here.
Right.
After 5 decades, leave me here. I'm better off
Right.
in here than I am out there because I don't know how to function anymore. What am I supposed to do? Get out and get a job?
Well, you know,
Hmm? Yeah, Brenda's in the same boat. Can you imagine trying to figure out how to live after that long? Yeah.
right.
Like it almost feels like what would more aptly be called compassionate release, which is we're basically throwing you out because you're about to die anyway.
Well, she's been transferred over. She will be on parole for a 3-year maximum.
So at 76, she comes off parole.
Right.
I mean, she's already 1 year away from the average, or what should be for her the average life expectancy of 74.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, there's possibility she dies without ever, like, she's out of jail, but she never actually hits full freedom.
Right.
Like, just the stress of it all.
Right.
Or the excitement, either which
Right.
way. I mean, I don't know. How excited can you be at 73 to get the news? Like, part of you's got to be sitting there going, oh, shit.
Right. Well, so she's living in a halfway house for at least 6 months.
Mm-hmm. I don't even know that's enough time. Like, I'm sorry. I think there needs to almost be like a permanent halfway house. Like, if you've been in prison for 5 decades,
Right.
I mean, it's not about technically,
Right.
in my thought process, about limiting someone's freedom as much as being a support system.
Right.
For the fact that you've been in prison for 5 decades. I don't know how the world expects you to function at this
Right.
point. You know, or 3 decades. Like, it's going to take a long, long, long time, and you don't have that much.
Right.
Yeah, or a nursing home. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you could easily turn right around and end up with dementia in a nursing home.
How
Like,
interesting, though, because she has a net worth.
Oh, goody. Like, she's been banking up her prison work money?
No, you know, because there's inheritance and all that that goes into play.
Mm-hmm.
She has an estimated net worth of $15 million, despite being in prison most of her life. In compensation, her fortunes was not gained through legitimate means, but through criminal practices.
I'm sorry, reread that again? Her fortune was not gained through...
Meaning that, yeah, she's been slowly increasing.
So basically, because she was in prison, everyone died, left her money, and then it just sat there and accumulated interest because it was with a asset manager.
Right.
Okay.
So she's not coming out to the poorhouse.
Mm-mm. Well, yeah, but then again, and I'm not knocking, like, hand me 15 million, please. But at the same time, and granted at her age, it may be more than enough than she can ever spend. But as we've seen with lottery winners, which to some degree, like, if you want to talk about someone walking out of prison after 5 decades,
right,
and dumping out onto the streets of the world. 15 million sounds like a lot of money. You make some poor choices, and you can blow that in less than in a night, in a week, in a month, in a year.
Because apparently her family owned a cocoa powder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, fun.
And property and yeah.
Well, and there was a rash of that in like the 60s and 70s.
Yeah.
Of like, well, and it's still going on today if you want to look at ISIS. Of basically entitled kids, what we would call entitled kids, like they have rich mommies and daddies.
Right.
Who rebel by going off to do like insane things.
Right.
And so when it turns back around, like you kind of have this idea of who ends up in a criminal situation where you do 50 years in prison. And you go, well, it must be someone from an inner city with, poor parenting and no opportunities and blah, 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 blah. No, your worst criminals always turn out to be someone who's like, well, minus serial killers, sometimes spree killers, but minus serial killers, spree killers, generally speaking. Like, they're just, like they should have been able to have not done this. No one expected this. This was not on the radar. This was not part of a plan.
Right. But no, apparently she has family worth and was never kicked out of the wheel. Nobody ever sued her for wrongful death. And she's gained about $400,000 a year. Every year with a monthly income of $32,000, and it's just been slowly growing.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, it is. Part of me is very happy for her, but again, I just don't know how she's gonna. And I know what she did was horrible and all of that. Again, it was 50 years ago, and I know that it's still tragic and horrible for the people it happened to, and I get all that.
Right.
And I'm not trying to dismiss her crimes as being lesser or whatever. She committed horrible crimes. But one, I think the ounce of flesh was taken quite well. I don't know that there's anything more than a shell of a person in terms of like a husk at this point to throw back out into the world and be like, okay, you're on your own now.
Yeah. Figure
it the fuck out. Good luck. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how? I don't see it. Like, I think the level of support someone needs at that point.
Well, and it's debatable. And here's why I say that. Because I remember in DOP, they were getting tablets and iPads and iPhones, and they knew what cell phones were, and they knew, like, it wasn't like they were void of anything.
Well, but they are, because mostly those are loaded with, like, prison-approved apps that are very much tied to, like, a payment system for use. Like, there's not, like we sit here and we say this, and I think a lot of people get the wrong impression that it's like, oh, there's tablets and decommissioned phones that have been decellularized, so it only blah, blah, blah.
Oh, honey, if you think there's no real cell phones in a prison, you're wrong.
Well, there's that too, but still.
Yeah. Hi, Mai, how are you?
I think, though, it really portrays this idea that we have prisoners who are just sitting there, like, rocking out some, Bejeweled, and just living the life of luxury with these electronic devices. And it's like, yeah, that's not really how that works out.
Well,
Um,
thinking about $32,000 a month in a prison system, she could have been living the life of luxury there.
in some senses, yes. In some senses, I think though, if you're trying to stay eligible for parole,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to have a lot of self-limiting behavior that's like,
Right.
oh, we fucking this up. Like, I am not giving him a
Right.
reason to sit here and say anything about, am I ready to be paroled? Like,
Mm-hmm.
you got to be a model prisoner at that point.
Right. That's it.
Like, I mean, to some degree,
Yeah.
like, I think that probably speaks to her abilities to at least recognize
Right.
that even, I don't know. I think we have this broken idea of what rehabilitation means
Right.
for some people.
Right.
And I'm not saying this is her situation. I'm really not.
Right.
But we have this idea that we want to like totally heal someone of these horrible ideas and intentions and ability, whatever. I think sometimes it's enough to at least get it through their heads
Mm-hmm.
that the consequences will be dire.
Right.
You don't want to do this again,
Right.
right? Even if it's not like, even if she's sitting here like, I could really go for some stabby action.
Right.
I like personally, I don't care as long as the thought kicks in of, but I don't want to go back to prison.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it's like thinking Martha Stewart was rehabilitated by her time in prison.
Well,
I
we
don't
already
think
know she was not rehabilitated, first of all. Okay, and
she
this
was
is how
so
we know
bad
that.
she got busted.
Oh,
Like,
please. Like, she went to real prison to begin with. But anyway, let's go on to the second thing. She
right.
wasn't rehabilitated. All she done was sit there and work out products and projects.
Yeah.
And now where is she?
Yeah, well,
Selling lighters.
she's selling what are they? The pillow vests on Amazon's Let Me Go Live
Yeah.
for Prime Day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I but no, again, Martha Stewart, but I'll be damned if she'll ever pull the stunt again.
No, honey, she won't pull the stunt again because she got better with it.
Yeah.
Our prisons do not make rehabilitation; they make better criminals.
Well, either A, better criminals, or B, like, yes, you get the correction you want, but if you're looking for this deeply held, like, I saw the light and I have changed,
Only if you're up at the parole board.
I don't think that's true. Yeah, you only hear that on parole boards. I think people still are the same people that went into prison. But I think that the best we can truly hope for is that, hi.
Yeah. However,
I recognize the dangers.
Yeah. If I ever have to hire a security team, I know who I'm hiring. I want people that have been in prison. I want them to specifically come from federal prison.
Oh, yeah. So Shannon points out, do you know what commissary costs in there? They charged my cousin $5 for a pack of ramen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. The economy of prison is ridiculous to begin with. 32,000 sounds like a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not like they have a lot of options to choose from.
Right.
But when you look at what stuff sold to prisoners costs,
uh-huh,
like, you really have to drop that number. Like, you have to adjust it for prison inflation, and it's like, yeah, it's not as much as you think it is.
A month.
Well, okay, but a month still.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyhow, yeah, Martha Stewart's hanging with Snoop Dogg. Like, she took that whole 90 days in prison for insider trading.
Mm-hmm. She did.
Right.
But and basically it was a vacation.
Right.
Like, I get that.
Right.
I do. I'm just,
Yeah. All right, let's move on to other news.
Alrighty. So Britney Spears' memoir, The Woman in Me, sets release date, reveals cover. Her music is on Broadway, her name is back in headlines, and now her memoir is set to hit bookstores. Britney Spears' The Woman in Me will be released October 24th by Gallery Books, a division of Simon & Schuster. Described by Gallery as a brave and astonishingly moving story about freedom, fame, motherhood, survival, faith, and hope, the memoir was the subject of a publishing bidding war in 2022, with Simon & Schuster's Gallery reported to have landed a $15 million deal.
That's
On the book's webpage, Gallery... Pardon?
I think that they will end up paying her more.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. On the book's webpage, Gallery writes, in June 2021, the whole world was listening as Britney Spears spoke in open court. The impact of sharing her voice, her truth, was undeniable, and it changed the course of her life and the lives of countless others. The Woman in Me reveals for the first time her incredible journey and the strength at the core of one of the greatest performers in pop music history. Written with remarkable candor and humor, Spears' groundbreaking book illuminates the enduring power of music and love and the importance of a woman telling her own story on her own terms at last. So, yeah, in November 2021, a Los Angeles County judge ruled to terminate the conservatorship that had controlled the singer's life for 13 years. Spears' hit songs are featured in the new Broadway show Once Upon a One More Time, a musical that updates and retells classic fairy tales through Spears' repertoire. And then, yeah, so we get the book cover.
Which is a nice, tasteful cover, although I've seen this cover.
Okay.
I can't remember the art of the memoir that it's on, but I've seen this cover. Brittany, come on, girl.
Well, it's very, like, 90s Calvin Klein kind of, like, nudity, but not.
Yeah.
Like, you can't see anything, but she's topless.
Yeah. But I'm saying I've seen this cover.
Okay.
On a woman's, I think it was a vanity article, vanity cover, Vanity Fair cover, something like that.
Okay.
So I would have liked to seen something more. But she is with Simon & Schuster, which is part of one of our agencies. So if I get a press letter, I'll invite her on.
Hey, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. All right. Now we're going to move into some Billboard news that this old man finds interesting.
All right. So Judas Priest to replace Ozzy Osbourne at Power Trip Festival. That's an exclusive for Billboard. Osbourne pulled out of the Superstar lineup on Monday due to health reasons. So English metal legends Judas Priest are playing Power Trip Festival in Indio, California, after rocker Ozzy Osbourne announced Monday that he would not be performing at the metal-themed festival produced by Golden Voice. Osbourne had been scheduled to perform alongside AC/DC, Guns N' Roses, Tool, Metallica, and Iron Maiden October 6th through 8th, but pulled out of the festival Monday, telling fans in an Instagram message, "My original plan was to return to the stage in the summer of 2024, and when the offer to do this show came in, I optimistically moved forward. Unfortunately, my body is telling me that I'm just not ready yet, and I am much too proud to have the first show that I do in nearly 5 years be half-assed."
Well, and I think Ozzy really, and I really think Shannon, is it Shannon or Sharon? Sharon needs to set him down and have a conversation. First of all, like, Ozzy, come on, man, you need to retire. Point blank, you've fucking been on stage for more than God's creation. I know more than 43 years. Maybe it's time to retire, bud. Maybe that's what he is saying.
Well, and sometimes it's really hard to judge.
Right.
Like, is it over?
Right.
Because it's like fame is addicting. Performing is addicting. It's tiring. It's exhausting. It is a process on the body. Being on tour is a process on the body. It has to be. But at the same time, there's that thrill and exhilaration, and it does, I think, lead a lot of performers to just keep going out there.
Yeah. Now, I have a
God
question.
knows, Cher has said farewell how many times?
Well, yeah, and then she has to go back and work. Point blank,
Yeah.
it has been clear that Cher only returns to the stage when her bank account tells her to.
Basically.
But
And then we have Elton John just recently did a farewell tour.
Oh, please, he ain't going
Is doing
anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think so. I think that'll just
He's
keep going.
copying Cher, but am I the only metalhead that finds it ironic
Okay.
that Ozzy is canceling is pulling out of a show,
Mhm.
and Judas Priest is jumping on the ballot? I mean, do we not see the ironicism here?
I don't. Like, take it away. I'm not a big metal dude.
Okay, Judas Priest, I believe, done a lot of following Ozzy's footsteps.
Okay.
Let me double check myself.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the article we just got done with. An exclusive, my ass.
Well, once you bring it up, then it's everywhere.
Right.
Oh, yeah, Brenda's with you. Sometimes I think farewell tours are for publicity.
Yeah, I believe there is a clear rivalry between them. Yeah, dating back to the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Which, fair enough. I mean, well, and then sometimes is it real rivalry or is it press generated, like as in studio generated for publicity?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it the Betty Davis, Joan Crawford feud that, did more to sell movie tickets and newspapers and magazines than it did anything else?
So I just find it ironic that Judas Priest, like, who replaced Ozzy in Black Sabbath?
I don't know.
Oh, Ronnie Joe Reno. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that was in 77 that Ozzy left Black Sabbath. And Judas Priest didn't appear until like the early 80s during the Hair era. Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I still think there's a rivalry, though. There was a rivalry during the time, anyhow.
I mean, very likely.
Yeah.
I mean, all musicians end up being in competition with all other musicians.
Right.
And some of them really let, like, the news reporting, the magazine, like, the industry, like, run them.
Right.
And, like, well, yeah, Judas Priest did this, but, Ozzy,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. And there's comparisons made, and there's stories, I'm sure Ozzy hit front page and bumped Judas Priest back to, like, the B section at some point.
Right. But we all know that Alice Cooper started it. Ozzy followed. And then you have Kiss coming in behind there. And then you have, like, Judas Priest and Whitesnake picking up the trends. And it's like, there was this whole rivalry of the metal bands. And, like, everyone talks about the East Coast, West Coast, and rap. Go back to the fucking metal bands, dudes. Like, go back to the early 70s, late 80s. Late 70s, early 80s of the metal bands. That shit was harsh. Harsh.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I think that pretty much sums up the whole industry, though.
Right.
And a lot of it is to just sell tickets, to just create that kind of sports rivalry connection to a band.
Mm-hmm.
That, you side with this one and this person sides with that one, and then you fight it out over who's the better musician, and trash talk each other about, well, Ozzy did this, and Judas Priest did that.
Right.
Like, end of the day, like, they probably are fine with each other.
Yeah, I think that you can just see the styles and the stages and the things that go on, and and it was really not the music. Like, metal, for a weird reason, is not about the music. It's about the stage performances.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it always was. I mean, because at its core, metal is just giant emotion.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's just a musical explosion of emotion.
Right.
With a really nice stage performance.
Right.
And who can top who, and who can pack a house better, and who's going to get more extreme and go further and do more.
Right.
Over top of the music, because quite frankly, the music is just for the most part. It's really loud. It's explosive emotion. It's you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's
but it
not
takes
about
the same center of the brain as Mozart, so I enjoy it.
There you go.
And if anyone wants to know, yes, I learned to meditate to Black Sabbath, so
He does.
It does. It's fun. So I think there's
turn the radio off in the car when he does it. After he does it. I wish you'd turn the radio off in the car after you do it, or at least turn it down. Because I'm not ready to meditate to AC/DC, Black Sabbath, or whoever metal band is on the radio when I go to get in the car. It just personally scares the ever-loving shit out of me when I start the engine and all of a sudden it's just, head-banging heavy metal, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. There are songs I am not allowed to drive to.
Fair enough. Well, there's a few I'm not allowed to drive to either. Like, no.
But you can always tell what, if you get in the car right after me, you can always tell what type of day I've had.
Mm-hmm. But it's very confusing to explain to others. Okay. For most people, if it's like, I got in the car, got the shit scared out of me by the screaming radio heavy metal, most people would associate that with, well, he must have had a bad day. And it's like, no, he had a good day and he was meditating.
Yeah.
Like, if he's listening to NPR, I get worried.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
or, what is it? Fresh air? You're in danger.
Yeah. Well, but see, I don't know what you actually listen to. I just know what the radio's on when I get in and turn the key, because no matter what he listens to, it's at full volume.
Yes,
like,
I feel the music.
Like, guys, you have to understand, he will drive down the road with, like, trash can or trash bag full of aluminum cans rattling of NPR. Like, they're like, I swear to God, radio volume control and stoves have no other setting than as high as it goes. As high as it goes.
Right, because what you get to NPR is actually fresh air in the mornings when I've been in the car at the gym.
Okay. Oh, Shannon says, drives my kids nuts. I listen to Nightwish and those sorts of bands to go to sleep and relax. So I believe Brenda would say, you can't tell my mood by the music. My taste is extremely eclectic. So Shannon comes back with, my supervisor saw my playlist and asked me how many personalities were in my head. Fair enough.
All right. Do you have an Are You an Asshole?
I do not yet.
All right.
Hey, drop one on me. I'll just take one.
Right.
Throw me an am out of the ass. Don't sing the Jeopardy theme. That's licensed and trademarked.
All right.
Oh, Brenda meant you can. Many moods, music for each. Got it now.
Yeah, and the baristas get an updated playlist because they do have the baristas have my playlist. I can actually see what new music I'm listening to.
Alrighty, well, we have an Am I the Asshole? Let's see how this one goes. Am I the asshole for treating my boyfriend like I'm his mom? For context, my boyfriend is about 1.5 years younger than I am, and frankly, pretty immature compared to me. I'm the perfect student, and I try my best to be as respectful to people as possible. I've had a rough childhood, and when it came to maturity, I've had to mature very fast. My boyfriend's childhood was the opposite, though, and when it came to his maturity as a child, he didn't have any. He was a bad kid who got in trouble a lot, but when I got with him, he started to mature a little more, and people would come up to me and say, I've done wonders with his personality. He's still the same jokester kind of guy, but he is way more respectful and polite, and he doesn't do things to get in trouble anymore. Well, about 2 months ago, he did something very irresponsible and stupid, which he paid the price for. Though he wasn't the only one paying the price, because I was also punished, even though I had absolutely nothing to do with what he did. Well, after hearing his side of the story, he seemed to have done what he did because of peer pressure from 2 of his friends. Now, obviously, I was pissed at my boyfriend for doing something so stupid, but I was even more pissed at his so-called friends for getting him into the mess and taking advantage of it. After the mess was resolved and we got through it, he started begging to hang out with those same friends, and I stuck with my gut and told him no. Over the course of about a month of him not hanging out with any friends, he started to get really mad at me for not forgiving his friends. Around this time of him resenting me for that, his grandmother passed away, and though he didn't really say it, the incident really hurt him. And after his grandmother passed, he started getting very, very angry at me, but not only angry, he seemed very depressed. Not knowing how to help, I asked him what was wrong other than his grandmother, and he said he feels trapped, like I have control over his life. He then says he can't do it anymore, talking about our relationship. Those words broke my heart, and I started begging and pleading for another chance. So during the second chance, I am forgiving his friends and having him hang out with them. But after all that was I the asshole for controlling him and what he does? Yes.
Yes.
Does this even need a long answer? Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but
yes.
I think it's different. And here's what I'll say it's different about.
Okay.
Okay. And what I mean by that. You're an asshole for staying in this damn relationship.
Yeah. I'll grant you that one. Because I'm sitting here reading this going, it sounds like you're a control freak who loves being right all the time.
Right.
And you found the perfect boyfriend for that, at least for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Until the gravity of who he was dating sunk in.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry, you screwed up. You're with someone that you don't respect, that you don't really have a romantic relationship with. Mm-hmm. You are basically his mom in this situation, and that's not really a functional romantic relationship.
Yeah.
This usually is about how this goes.
Yeah.
So, lesson learned, don't do that to people. It doesn't end well.
Well, not only that, but you're an asshole to yourself.
Mhm.
Mhm. But the poll is up. What do you think? Feel free to vote.
Absolutely.
And let's go on to relationship advice. This one's going to be fun because it is also a mouse chosen.
Alrighty. I, 40 female, am in a rut with my husband, 41 male, and I'm not sure how to get out of it. I am in a rut with my husband, and I'm not sure I know how to get out of it. My husband and I are in our early 40s with 2 kids, 10 and 6. We have been together 16-ish years. When we started dating long distance, he was very kind and expressive, always showing me how much he cared and going out of his way to contact me and show me affection. I feel like we are in a place now where we barely speak to each other, like roommates who aren't even friends. We are both at fault for how we got here. Example, him slowly pulling away over time, and me for being angry and confrontational about it. To be honest, the more introverted and isolated he gets in our relationship, the more confrontational about it I become, which leads him to pull away more. It's a vicious cycle. I am at a loss as to how to best reconnect and move past this. I still love him, but my bitterness keeps oozing out, and I'm having a hard time letting go of the past and existing in the present. He says he still loves me, but I can't tell if he just says that to get out of the conversation because talking about difficult topics makes him defensive, and his preference would be to run away from the problem. His words. Does anyone in a similar situation have constructive feedback to offer about how 2 different conflict resolution styles can find common ground and move forward together? Any tips and tricks that have worked for you all? Or if you are divorced separated, what was the straw that broke the camel's back? I really want to stop treading water in this relationship.
Okay. So, first of all, we're going to talk about the rut, and then we'll talk about the straw that breaks camel's backs. All right, so ruts happen in all relationships, no matter how long you've had them, however they occur. You form a pattern of life, and if you've not made the relationship a primary focus, you can expect to be a problem in that relationship. It happens. Not your fault, not his fault, not the monkey on the wall's fault. It just happens. So how do you change that? You break the rut. If you can't go back and change the problem, stop carrying it around like a suitcase. Change the problem, change the problem. Him wanting to be avoidant of confrontation, you wanting to be confrontational, doesn't really work out. So you need to find something to do with that confrontational energy. I highly recommend the gym, a punching bag. Maybe you get into a cleaning obsession, but you need to do some pattern behavior. You need to do some reprogramming behavior. First, start showing gratitude to him to bring him back in. You get to listen and to talk. Don't be talking about confrontation. Simple things like, thank you for mowing the grass. Thank you for picking me up an energy drink. Thank you for being gone all day and giving me time. Secondly, breaking up in divorces. What straw breaks the camel's back? It can be anything. From getting tired of picking up dirty socks to getting tired. And when I say getting tired, it gets to the point that you don't care anymore. He walks in and says, I murdered someone. You go, great, honey. Do you want hot dogs for dinner or barbecues? When you get to that point, you are no longer in a relationship. You are in a divorce.
Basically. Slow moving, but in a divorce.
Yes.
Like, it's where it ultimately would go.
Right. And that's what happens when relationships, and I see it more often, when relationships are no longer a primary focus. Kids are a focus, jobs are a focus, careers are a focus, the water bill's a focus. When you stop taking care of the main cell, the 2 main cells of this company, the rest of the company falls apart. So if you're not doing self-care and relationship care, your life is not built right. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm following what you're saying. I'm there.
Okay.
As for how to get out of it, I think you both have to have a quiet, non-confrontational, because that doesn't work. Confrontational does not work. You have clearly defined what does not work. So don't do that.
Right.
But actually have a real honest conversation about, we fucked up. Here's what we can do to fix it. And I think it starts with forgiveness.
Right.
You fucked up, he fucked up.
Right.
Both of you fucked up.
Right.
It is 50-50 on that one.
Right.
Because this was a mismatch in how each of you handle conflict that has spiraled you to the point of almost breaking up.
Right.
And you can sit here and fuel your confrontation and your anger and your resentment all day long. And you have been for several years now.
Right.
Or you can accept that there is no path from where you are to the relationship that you want,
right,
other than to look at the relationship you want and work it backwards.
Right.
If this is what you want, how is yelling and screaming and calling, and being confrontational gonna get you over here?
Right.
So figure out the path to there.
Right.
How, I ordinarily don't want to say, dangle a carrot, but this is a situation in which you have to start dangling carrots, and that the hope is, it is going to have to start with you because you're the confrontational one. He is happy to just keep existing as existing.
Right.
And just keep your head down. One of us will die eventually.
Right.
So you're gonna, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to dangle carrots. And this is like trying to get a feral cat.
Right.
You have to start doing treats and create trust and rebuild it up.
Right.
So that there is more of what you want in your relationship out of your relationship. Because yelling and screaming doesn't work, and you have to learn to let it go.
Yes.
Let it go. It's not going to work. It's not going to fix him. It's not going to change his behavior. It's going to make it worse.
Right. And it's going to make it in the simplest thing, saying thank you. Giving gratitude, real gratitude, freaks the fuck out of me. I do it to him all the time.
Yeah, it's really annoying. It's like, okay, are we about to have an argument? Because that sounds sarcastic. If you're really this excited about me, whatever, picking up milk. I don't want to know how bad your day has been. God, how bad were your clients?
But it makes a giant impact. It is the key to a happy relationship, saying thank you, good morning, good night. That's all you got to say to us, person. Thank you for coming home. Thank you for making dinner. Thank you for eating dinner. Thank you for sharing dinner with me. Thank you for taking 5 minutes to deal with the screaming child while I took a break. Thank you for letting the dogs out. Thank you for picking up your dirty socks. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Show gratitude. People's energy changes.
And then it starts leading into you can get more of what you want, especially in situations like this where you have totally broken this down. This is a train wreck
with a fast-moving train in front of it.
So the only way to get this back on track,
right? Because if he used to be expressive and he is no longer expressive, that means he thinks you don't hear him or care about him.
Right. Well, and a lot of that has to do with I'm trying, in the moment of I was trying to be expressive and I was trying to tell you, I got slapped in the face with confrontation. So that quickly leads to I just won't say anything.
Right. Now here comes Right. And here comes the other part of this, and this is the harder part of this, is people do not realize things. And I'm talking about simple things that change people's behaviors. Okay? For him to be distancing himself away from you, then he stops feeling safe. He stops feeling comfortable. And that means if he's not sharing something, you've used something against him.
Mm-hmm. So stop using shit against him.
Yeah.
Like it, and really this is about like stop doing the thing more than like really dangling carrots. It's more so stop doing the thing.
Right.
Like you've already established this pattern of you get confrontational, he pulls away. You get confrontational because he pulled away, and he pulls away more.
Right.
Stop doing it.
Right.
Just
and
stop.
also, when there is an issue, don't be bringing up other issues.
Yeah, try to stay on track.
Yeah. The issue is
Like,
the issue.
The issue is the issue. There are no other issues than this issue.
Yeah.
Like,
bringing up,
don't
you
go
did
on a
not text me back that day so that we could have a talk in an argument that me and Joe is currently having is not useful.
No. Because now it's like when, where, how, why, what. Like, now I got to figure out how that happened.
Yeah.
Like, ugh. And it's like, okay, but you didn't mention it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have a problem then.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you bringing it up now?
Right.
It's ammo. You saved ammo.
Right. Or ammo that's already been fired. That's recycled ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Done, over with, used, spent.
Yeah.
But if you want to keep launching it, then you're going to keep getting what you're getting.
Right.
Like, so what are you really doing? You're taking a low-hanging fruit win
Mm-hmm.
for haha, you have the better argument. Haha, you have more ammo.
Mm-hmm.
Is it worth it? Like, did that win? Like, it didn't fix anything.
Right.
You were still in the relationship you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
You are still getting, not only are you not getting what you want, but now you're getting even less of it.
Right.
Like, you're shooting yourself. Like, if you want to talk about who's winning and losing,
mm-hmm.
like, no one, it's
right.
just getting worse. Yeah, you can't reuse a spent bullet.
Right.
You can't. Well, I mean, if you want to sit there and pick up all the spent bullets and melt down and reform and whatever. But the reality is, once you've fired it
mm-hmm.
into a relationship,
mm-hmm.
move on.
Yeah.
Because there's no point. There's no point.
Right. And, and I'll never get that. You lied in 2017 about this. You lied in 2018 about this. You can't be trusted with this person in 2009. It is 2023, lady. Knock it the fuck off.
Right. Right. Well, a lot of that can be said for the boyfriend in the Am I the Asshole?
Yeah.
Is like, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Yes.
Let's end the poll. And the poll has agreed. You are the asshole.
You are the asshole.
Woo. All right, guys. Baristas, let me know in the coffee group if you want us to talk about true arguments, the way to actually argue. Since we're leaving off on that topic tonight.
Mm-hmm.
We will be on I will be on Coffee and Tea. I believe Lady Gwendolyn's joining me. We'll be talking about whatever's in the cup. If not, Joe will be here, and we'll be talking about an article that I found really disturbing for the psychic industry.
Ooh.
Yeah. And what I mean by disturbing, it sounds like it's a PR piece that someone needs to do some due diligence on. I hate when reporters don't do that. But that'll be mine and your next Coffee and Tea.
Ooh.
And
that one.
Huh?
Good deal. Hold on to that one. That sounds fun.
Yeah, I'm going to hold on to that one for me and you to talk about. And then, of course, Mountain Bears, which already have your Emma the Asshole waiting for you. Yay.
Very cool.
So we will see. I will see you either on Thursday. I will see you on Thursday. Joe will see you on Friday.
Yep.
Currently. I will be on taking calls tonight. If you want to reach me on demand services, you can always book appointments at aesonknight.com, or you can check out any of my on-demand services, and you might want to check them for special pricing. Anything else I got going on this week?
Well, let me just put it this way. It is not too late to sign up for Aeson's newsletter.
Right.
Wink, 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 wink.
Oh.
Go sign up for the newsletter. There's a reason I'm telling you to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, guys. So aesonknight.com, you can go sign up. Just put in your email and sign up for the newsletter.
Yeah, we'll throw the list out there.
Yeah. That'll work.
There you go. You join my mailing list. You get weekly forecasts, astrology forecasts. You get special offers.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So with that, guys, you guys have a great night. We'll see you later. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Oh.
Oh, we forgot. Sorry.
I'm saying bye. You still have work to do.
Oh, well. Ugh. All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcsbnetwork.com.
Yes. All right, guys. You have a great night. Bye, y'all.